why it sucks to be a fan of the Washington Commanders. Being a fan of the Washington Commanders is like having your identity stolen every few years, except instead of your bank account, it's your team name, your logo, and your entire sense of self as a fan. One year you're proudly yelling, "Hail to the Redskins," the next year rooting for the football team. That's not a nickname. That's what your grandpa calls any team he can't remember. And now you're a Commander. A name so generic it sounds like it was picked out of a military surplus catalog. The logo? It looks like a sticker that came with a Happy Meal. The uniforms? Designed by a committee that couldn't decide between maroon and mustard, so they just said, screw it, let's do both. Other teams have rich traditions. You have a rebrand that feels like a corporate email blast. Exciting changes coming soon. Your merch collection? It's a museum of sadness. Old jerseys with outdated names, t-shirts that are already irrelevant, and hats that scream, "I survived the name change." Even your fight song, once a proud anthem, now feels like a bad inside joke. What are you supposed to sing now? Hail to the Commanders? It sounds like a rejected jingle for a car dealership. The worst part, you don't even know who you're rooting for half the time. Are you part of a football team, a military operation, or a witness protection program? It's like being in a long-term relationship where they keep changing their name and hobbies every year, except you can't leave because you already bought the season tickets. Being a Commanders fan means constantly explaining your fandom like it's a court-ordered community service. No, I don't like the name. No, I didn't pick it. No, I don't think we'll win more than 6 games. You're trapped in a rebranding cycle, waiting for the next announcement. This year, we're the Washington Warthogs. It's not just a team, it's an identity crisis wrapped in a helmet. And you can't even pretend to be nostalgic because half of your fan memories are of a team name you're not even allowed to say out loud anymore. So yeah, you're a Commander now, or a football team, or maybe you're just a fan of chaos wrapped in burgundy and gold. But trust me, the name is just the tip of the iceberg, because if you thought a branding mess was bad, wait till you meet the man who made it all possible. Dan Snyder wasn't just a bad owner. He was the NFL's walking, talking, scandal-generating black hole. Every time you thought the Commanders had hit rock bottom, Snyder handed you a shovel and said, "Keep digging." He bought the team in 1999, and within a few years, it felt like he was playing Madden franchise mode on rookie difficulty, except it was real careers, real fans, and real heartbreak. You didn't just suffer as a fan. You endured decades of front-page disasters, HR violations, congressional hearings, hush money payouts, and enough lawsuits to fill a law school syllabus. Every offseason wasn't about building a roster. It was about wondering which scandal would leak next. Workplace investigations, a toxic culture, yacht parties that sounded like rejected Succession plot lines. And the football, a joke. Snyder's strategy was simple. Throw money at big names like a kid with a cheat code. Albert Haynesworth, $100 million for a nap on a D-line. Deion Sanders in his twilight years? Why not? It was like he was collecting football cards, not building a team. The franchise became a punchline. Fans dodging sewage leaks at games, cheerleader lawsuits, the NFL's version of a reality show, but somehow worse. You weren't just defending your team, you were apologizing for it. Your friends didn't even trash talk the players anymore. They just texted you, "Bro, you okay? Did you see the latest headline?" And after 2 decades of dragging this team through the mud, Snyder finally sold the franchise, walked away with billions while you're left sifting through the emotional wreckage. It's like your house burned down and the insurance adjuster left with your wife, your dog, and the fire truck. Even with Snyder gone, the scars remain. His legacy, a blueprint for how to turn a proud franchise into a national embarrassment. Dan Snyder didn't just own the Commanders, he owned your misery. And for 20 years, you paid for it. One heartbreak, one therapy bill, one tattered jersey at a time. Snyder's gone, sure, but the mess he left, that's your reality now. And nowhere is it more obvious, literally, physically, than in the stadium you're supposed to call home. Yeah, let's take a trip to the worst stadium in football. Being a Commanders fan means every Sunday is a survival challenge, not because of the opponent, but because of your own damn stadium. Northwest Stadium isn't a football venue. It's a death trap with yard lines. Start with the leaks. Literal sewage dripping onto paying fans. You're sitting there watching your team lose by 2 scores, and suddenly you're dodging raw human waste like you're in a scene from Indiana Jones. Other fans get beer showers. You get a brown rain of sadness. Then the collapsing railings. Remember that? Fans tumbling onto the field like it's a stunt going wrong? That's not an accident, that's a lawsuit. Imagine paying $300 for tickets just to end up on the injury report next to the third string running back. The parking lot? A cratered nightmare. The food? Cold, overpriced, and probably expired. The Wi-Fi? Non-existent. The bathrooms? A medieval test of patience and bladder control. Every other stadium upgrades. Better screens, comfier seats, nicer lounges. Northwest Stadium? It looks like it was built in 1997 and then forgotten. They should just call it Dan Snyder's Rust Bucket. Oh, and location? It's not even in Washington. It's in Landover, Maryland. Basically a football exile colony where dreams go to die. You sit in traffic for an hour, pay $100 to park, and pray your car doesn't get stuck in the mud lot while your team gets blown out by the Giants. Want a beer? Good luck. It's warm, overpriced, and served by a guy who's actively refreshing his LinkedIn. And yet, you still show up. You put on the jersey. You brave the sewage showers, the collapsing railings, the parking lot from hell. You chant, "Hail to the Commanders," in a stadium that feels like it's actively trying to kill you. Northwest Stadium isn't just the worst stadium in the NFL, it's a monument to neglect, a reminder of how little this franchise cares. You survived the sewage rain, the crumbling stands, and the parking lot war zone. Cool. Now let's talk about the part of your fandom that really twists the knife, the quarterbacks. Oh God, the quarterbacks. Being a Commanders fan means you're stuck playing the NFL's saddest game show, quarterback roulette. Every year you spin the wheel, cross your fingers, and pray the next franchise guy won't end up in the trash heap of broken dreams. Let's take a little tour. RG3, the savior, the highlight reel. One magical season before his knee exploded and the team left him to rot like expired milk in the fridge. Kirk Cousins, the "you like that guy"? Washington's QB equivalent to the one that got away. Ghosted by the front office, thriving somewhere else. Alex Smith, brave, gutsy, literally risked his life, came back from the dead, and they treated him like a rental car they forgot to return. Carson Wentz, the human Hail Mary, brought her in like a stray dog hoping for a miracle. Didn't happen. Taylor Heineke, the scrappy backup you root for at Thanksgiving. Fun for a minute, but let's be honest, you can't build a franchise on almost. Sam Howell, latest spin of the wheel, showed flashes, got flattened, and left fans arguing whether he's the future or just another guy. And now it's Jaden Daniels, the new hope, the next savior, the Heisman winner with electric legs and a rocket arm, the guy who's supposed to break the cycle. And you want to believe, you have to believe. The offseason buzz is loud. The beat writers are hyping him up like he's the second coming of Lamar. The jerseys are flying off the shelves. But you've seen this before. The hype, the camp reports, the "he's taking the next step" tweets. And by week 3, the O-line is folding, the throws are rushed, the hits pile up, and you're right back where you started, holding the door open for the next spin of the wheel. Because in Washington, quarterbacks don't develop, they get devoured. Other teams get Mahomes, Burrow, and Herbert. You get excited when your guy throws one touchdown without a pick. The bar is so low, you trip over it just walking in the Northwest Stadium. You know how this plays out. The revolving door, the heartbreak, the fans convincing themselves, this time it's different. It's never different. Quarterback isn't a position for the Commanders, it's a curse. And just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Because in this division, you're not just losing, You're getting humiliated. Being a Commanders fan in the NFC East is like showing up to a family reunion just to get roasted by your cousins. Dallas, Philly, and New York. 3 cities that hate each other, but they all agree on one thing. Your misery is comedy gold. Let's start with the Cowboys. They still call themselves America's team like it's 1995. And the worst part, they own you. Every time you think you've got them, some random backup like Cooper Rush lights up your defense. And there's Jerry Jones grinning like a Bond villain while you wonder why you still care. Then there's Philly, a fan base that booed Santa, yet somehow they've got a Super Bowl this century while you're still polishing trophies from a time when shoulder pads looked like body armor. Eagles fans don't just win, they live to remind you they're better. Every time you see Midnight Green, it's just another gut punch. The Giants, even when they're a mess, and they usually are, they still flex on you. Eli Manning has 2 rings, 2, and they came at Brady's expense while your QB is throwing checkdowns on 3rd and 12. The Giants can trip over their own shoelaces, and they still own you in primetime. Every NFC East game feels like crashing someone else's party. They're popping bottles, showing off rings, and you're sitting in the corner with a lukewarm beer wondering how you're 1-5 in the division again. You don't just lose in the NFC East. You get embarrassed on national TV. Thanksgiving, Sunday Night Football, the must-win game in December, it's always the same. Your team takes the L while the rest of the division takes turns dunking on your corpse. The NFC East is a street where everyone has a mansion, and you're living in a van parked outside the stadium. And the worst part, you can't leave. You're stuck. Every season you walk back into the same house of horrors, hoping the bullies will take it easy. They won't. So yeah, the NFC East is a street fight, and you're the kid with glasses and a broken lunchbox. But even outside the division, the pain doesn't stop, because every year the Commanders say they're rebuilding. But it's like watching someone trying to build a house with spaghetti and glue sticks. Being a Commanders fan is like working in a factory that makes absolutely nothing. Every year they promise they're building something special, but all you get is an assembly line of shattered dreams and half-baked rebuilds that crumble before the paint even dries. The draft, a fresh batch of high-upside prospects who either bust, get hurt, or end up playing for the Giants. The free agents, overpaid mercenaries who look great in the press conference, then vanish on Sundays. The coaches, a revolving door of culture changers who flame out faster than a viral TikTok trend. Meanwhile, other teams have a plan. Philly, building around a dynamic QB and a stacked O-line. Dallas, drafting freaks and paying stars. Even the Giants, they're a mess, but at least they tried. And they've got rings to prove it. The Commanders, they're the NFL's group project where no one knows what the hell is going on. Every season is the same sad cycle. 7 wins, maybe 8 if the football gods feel bad for you. Draft capital, mid-round purgatory. Cap space, blown on another washed-up vet. Hype, gone by Halloween. It's the worst kind of mediocrity, the kind that convinces you to care but never pays you back. You're stuck in the NFL's no man's land. Never bad enough to tank, never good enough to matter. Just there. And yet you keep showing up. You keep buying tickets. You keep scrolling the depth chart thinking, maybe this year. But it's never this year. It's the same rerun every season. The Commanders aren't rebuilding, they're recycling. A loop of almosts, maybes, and not quites, spinning forever while the rest of the league moves on. And the worst part, all of it, every painful, pointless year is weighed down by one thing: your legacy. Let's be honest, you didn't become a Commanders fan because of what's happening now. You're here because of what used to happen. You inherited the glory days like an old family photo album. Joe Gibbs on the sidelines, the Hogs blowing up holes, Doug Williams hoisting the Lombardi, Riggins running through defenders like a tank. That history, it's heavy. It should inspire pride, but instead, it hangs over you like a ghost. Because when you look at this team now, fumbling name changes, getting clowned by division rivals, spinning the quarterback carousel every 10 months, it's impossible to connect this mess with that dynasty. Your dad tells you stories about the real Washington team. Your grandpa brags about the glory days. Meanwhile, you're stuck watching a team that can't even settle on a mascot. The history, it's a weight. Every throwback jersey, every Remember the Hogs tribute, every highlight from the 80s. It's not inspiration, it's a reminder of how far you've fallen. And yeah, you want to believe that greatness is still possible. You want to believe this team will rise again. But the truth, that legacy is gone. The trophies, they're not a blueprint, they're relics. The team has moved on, and the fan base is stuck clinging to nostalgia like a security blanket, whispering, "Be someday." But deep down, you know, there's no Riggins coming back. No on Sunday. Being a Commanders fan isn't rooting for a team, it's rooting for a memory. And every season, that memory fades a little more and gets a little harder to explain. So let's stop pretending, stop hoping, stop making excuses. It's time for the cold, hard truth. Being a fan of the Washington Commanders isn't about football, it's about survival. You've endured name changes, scandals, sewage showers, and a stadium that's fallen apart faster than a roster. You've watched a proud dynasty collapse into a national punchline, and you're still there. Every season, you buy the tickets, wear the jerseys until they change the name again, and scroll through training camp hype like it's gospel. And every year, the same story. A spark in September, a gut punch in October, a quarterback injury by November, and by December, you're arguing draft picks on Twitter while Cowboys and Eagles fans laugh in your face. You don't root for the Commanders, you survive them. The franchise doesn't just break hearts, it perfects the art of heartbreak. And you, the fan, are the unwilling collector of every last one. Yet you stay, because it's not just a team, it's part of who you are, a curse you wear like a badge. You keep whispering, maybe next year. But deep down, you know, it's never your year. Not till this team finds its soul, shakes off the Snyder curse, and stops being a punchline. Until then, welcome to Commanders Fandom, a lifetime subscription to Heartbreak, delivered every Sunday.